American population.
30% of America's. Yeah.
No, but even no, because if you go look at the Sam Seder ones, all of them are Sam Seder crushed them. Like he has a coherent worldview and they don't. So if you look at these LGBTQ ones where they do have a chance to open their mouth and a few words utter out of their mouth, you get to see their true colors.
You know, the thing about Sam is that he's got like a high school equivalent education, and I'm not saying that to drag him.
At best.
Again, I'll stress this to all his fans. I am not saying this to be like, oh yeah, well he's dumb.
Tim Pool didn't hold back in this one. He straight up roasted Sam Seder on his podcast, calling him weak, his takes weak, and questioning whether the man's even thinking straight. But he didn't stop there. Tim took shots at the entire left-wing media bubble, saying their audiences will believe anything, no matter how ridiculous it is. Let's run the clip and break it down.
I'm saying when I tried debating him, it was like 7 years ago. This is like the famous moment where I mentioned that his view on universal health care was basically an argument between deontological moral ethics and utilitarianism. And he says, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, oh. At that point, I should have said, okay, Sam, read some philosophy books to better understand moral ethics and philosophy, and then maybe we can try and understand the world together. But I should probably just say, if you don't know what these things are, I don't know how we have a conversation. Instead, I made the mistake of trying to dumb it down so that someone of his limited knowledge, again, not meant to be an insult, I'm saying he literally didn't know what deontology is. If I try to dumb it down so he can comprehend that, he started mocking it and making jokes about it. It's like, okay, so he literally can't comprehend, nor can he hold a serious conversation. And then I think you had the famous moment you asked him about consequentialism.
Yeah, utilitarianism. Because what I established at the beginning was like, well, you gotta hear, when you hear this guy's show, all he does is just talk a bunch of smack. And he says, Trump is evil, conservatives are evil, religion is evil. But I asked him, on what basis? Is it a preference? He said, yes, it's a preference. He even admitted on his show after, it's all a preference. So if it's all a preference, if we take trans rights away, women's rights away, you have no problem with that. So anything he said after that was a self-contradiction. It was a self-refutation. So if you say it's all a preference and then you put into the purview of morality, that's a self-refutation.
Right.
So he doesn't know what so if you have...
He could not comprehend what you just said to me right now.
Right. So the reason why this is important is if you have no system, if you say, oh, I'm just going to go with the flow, it's all arbitrary. It's all willing to change overnight. So if he says raping is wrong right now, tomorrow he could believe in rape.
Well, yeah. This is a prominent liberal podcaster with millions of subscribers, and this is the world they inhabit.
Right.
A great example, David Pakman. He had a video. He's got so many. It's remarkable, and I think this is why Democrats are in complete and utter disarray right now. It said, Donald Trump threatens to wipe blue states off the map. This literally never happened. Donald Trump said in the midterms, you're going to be surprised. In fact, these blue states might get totally disappeared from the map. We know what he was saying. He was saying that they're going to turn red.
Right.
There will be no more blue states because they will be red. And David Pakman titles it, Trump threatens to wipe blue states off the map. And he gets 500,000 views from it. And these low IQ individuals, limited comprehension, are going, oh, whoa, and they watch it. Mm-hmm. I imagine a good portion is hate watching, though, but...
Sure. Let's be real. Sam Seder had absolutely nothing. That whole debate Tim Pool referenced, Sam flat out exposed himself. His entire argument boiled down to, well, it's just preference. That's not an argument, that's a dodge. No structure, no logic, no backbone. It's just, I feel like I'm right. And what's worse, Sam's out here admitting he doesn't even understand the terms he's debating. You can't say, I don't know what this means, then act like the smartest guy in the room. It doesn't work like that. This ain't just Sam either. David Pakman's been caught misquoting Trump and twisting statements to fit a narrative. So ask yourself, are they confused or just coning their audience? Either way, their followers eat it up without question, and that's the real problem.
Is that why guys like Luke Beasley, like he's a pundit, he does a show, like he's supposed to be all knowledgeable and whatnot, and Enrique is just a dude who got sentenced sometimes and was living the life. Is that why he won't talk to Enrique?
Luke Beasley will not debate Enrique Tarrio because Luke Beasley doesn't know anything about January 6th. And there's that extremely viral clip where I was yelling at him saying, you want to put people in prison without, and everything. And part of what I was saying, I misspoke on one. I said a guy without charge or trial. I meant without trial or bail. Some people have contested whether it's his administrative actions that are doing that. But so I was not even perfect in that regard. But he doesn't know anything at all. And we recently had on Culture War, we had Prime, who was debating Gibbs. and we were discussing Doge. Now this dude Prime, he's a Twitch streamer, fantastic. Liberal guy, we argued. I thought he was wrong. He pushed back. He argued why he thought he was right. And I said, okay, so now we're arguing about our interpretations of the Constitution, and this is an actual legal debate that neither of us are qualified to actually answer. We just have preference, worldview on how the courts should operate based on these provisions. I can respect his arguments. With all due respect to Luke Beasley, he would say things like, they should go to jail. And I'd go, why? And he goes, I don't know. You tell me. I'd be like, what?
And he squint his eyes then.
And yeah.
He always squinted his eyes.
And then whenever I cited examples of things to prove a point, he would say, stop giving me anecdotes. And it's like, I am literally citing instances in which a thing occurred. So all he really had was the talking points.
The rhetoric.
But that's it.
Yeah.
They have emotions. So what is your goal in debating a liberal, right? I mean this rhetorically. Are you trying to convince them? Are you trying to convince people who are watching? Okay. If you're trying to convince people who are smart, very little need be done. Do your best. Do a show like this. Smart people will say, sure. I respect that you're treating me with intelligence. If you're trying to convince the typical liberal, then what you need to do is make fun of them, because their reactions are entirely emotional and social orthodoxy based. So if you want to win a debate with Sam Seder, you have to insult him. No matter what he says, you have to act like it's the stupidest thing anyone's ever said. That's how they debate.
That's crazy.
So if Sam says something like universal health care is a right, you'll be like, all right. You don't even know what rights are, dude. Oh, I can't believe you should be so stupid. Do you have any idea how stupid you look? And then what's going to happen is all the clips are going to go around and they're going to be like, oh, that was so dumb. I can't. But you make them look dumb and trigger their emotions. People on the right are going to be like, whatever. But that's.
Yeah, man. Tim P hit it right on the head. These left-wing pundits, they've set the bar so low, you need a shovel to find it. It's not even about the strength of your ideas anymore. It's just about who can scream transphobe or racist the loudest. That's their version of a mic drop. No logic, no follow-up, no real thought, just straight-up labels. And you wonder why folks like Joe Rogan and Chris Williamson move towards the center. The left got so extreme, they pushed real conversation out of the room. Meanwhile, the right, love it or hate it, is where actual debates are happening right now. People trading views, disagreeing, learning. And over on the left, you got pundits talking in circles for hours just to end with, you're a bigot. At this point, debating them is a waste of energy. There's nothing productive about arguing with someone whose only goal is to shut you down with a label. But hey, that's just what I think. What do you guys think? Drop a comment, smash that like, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.